Alright YouTube, what is going on? Welcome back to another episode of the wonderful Cities Skylines series here on Fordell County. In today's episode, episode number 7, we're going to start off by talking about quite a few different interesting comments people have left in the comment section down below over the past few episodes. If people don't know, I am mass recording right now, so that may mean that previous comments you've left from quite a long time ago, to be honest, haven't been integrated as of yet, so do hold out, don't worry, they are going to be, I guess, addressed, but just give it a bit of time until they are addressed. Then on top of that as well, I'm going to go ahead and sort of set forward objectives going forward for the next episode, or next few episodes for that matter. I guess initially in these starting episodes we've been really working towards trying to get a general population of 14,000, which we now have achieved, which is wonderful. So from this we now need to go ahead and set some new objectives, and I'm thinking along the lines of trying to maybe start up an oil field and go ahead and possibly try and abstract that, and also work on some more unique factories as well, because our furniture factory is now up and running, which is good, but I think we need to go ahead and try and get a bit more out of it, which is hopefully what we'll do this episode. And I don't think we'll have time this episode, but public transport's an issue we need to go ahead and address big time as well. Okay, so what I want to start off with this episode is actually something which I wasn't expecting to do, but I know what's going to happen. So in the last episode we went ahead and we talked about adding in a few more mods, and one of them was automatic bulldoze. Now I've already recorded the intro to this episode, but I sort of got some issues with regards to certain mods crashing because I was having, bottom line was automatic bulldoze was crashing, and that's not good at all, so I had to go ahead and restart the video, which was annoying. So that means that I need to go ahead and still manually bulldoze, which kind of is frustrating. But I also noticed at the start of that episode we're having some issues with our track, and I know why it is. It's because the turning circle is actually in fact too small and we don't have enough room for crossover. So I'm just going to go ahead and not spend a lot of time on this at all, but we are just going to go ahead and redraw this just because it's not really ideal at all. So what I want to do is bring that to, yeah, pretty much along to about here, and then this is where we want to do quite a sharp turn back around to here. Now interestingly, we now have precision engineering on, which should make junction creation that little bit more easier. So if we draw that into there, and then we go ahead and couple that into, there. I mean, that doesn't look the most elegant, but it gives us a bit more room. The problem is right now we don't currently have enough room for trains that are switching tracks, so that should hopefully go ahead and relieve that issue. Very small change, which is fine indeed. So we can go ahead and, oh, this is empty as well now, so I can actually go ahead and delete this too, which I've been wanting to do for a while. So while we're at that then, we're going to have to go ahead and modify this power line, but the real reason that I wanted to go ahead and remove that is because I want to have better access at this junction here. This is basically going ahead, and now we've got the Fordell shopping city over here. I keep wanting to call it district or village, and I'm not calling it city, where I really should be calling it city, but we're getting a lot of vehicles coming in along this road here, which is understandable. So when they want to go ahead and use this over here, I've already got a lot of traffic on these roads, so I just want to go ahead and try and reduce it by going ahead and having an extra road which we can use. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and draw this curve right around there, which is absolutely wonderful, and now we've got an extra boulevard, which is cool. So all I need to do now is actually continue to connect up Fordell City, which is going to be easy enough to do. I'm actually going to add in a power line over there now, and we're just going to go ahead and get rid of this power line entirely, which is fine. So the next thing that we need to go ahead and do, and I said I would really do this at the end of the last episode, is to do with sewage. So I want to go ahead and get rid of all of these. Now we're keeping the game on pause because obviously the game would have a bit of an issue if I did this. And we're going to go ahead and implement what is these water sewage plants. And I want to go ahead and implement 2 of these if we can, because this is hopefully now going to go ahead and start to deal with our polluted bay. Now Crescent Bay is a nice village in itself, however I don't want it to be polluted, so we're going to go ahead and try and address that with these I guess, water treatment plants. So what these do is they go ahead and purify most of the sewage before it is pumped out. So there is going to still be some, I guess, waste going into the bay. However, hopefully it will go ahead and start to clear up a little bit. Slowly but surely as well, the bay should start to clear, which will be nice, and it should make for a bit of a better, pleasant viewing. So with that said, we should hopefully be able to turn on the game again, and I'm going to check the sewage capacity here because it still needs to go ahead and update, and I need to make sure these two stations have enough capacity, which they do. Not by much, arguably, but we do there, which is good. So hopefully now that should go ahead and, I guess, pollute the bay a little bit less, which I am excited about. Okay, so with that done now, let's go ahead and talk about some of our wonderful comments from you guys, the viewers. Again, if you're watching this series, please go ahead and leave as much feedback as possible, and I'd love to see some new faces as well. I'm currently going ahead and starting to try and, let me put this in a normal speaking way. I'm very grateful for the current viewers we have, but I want to go ahead and bring in new viewers to the channel, which any channel which wants to grow would understand. And by doing that, I want to go ahead and try, and I'm really happy with the content on the channel. I'm really happy with the videos. I just need to get more people to here. So I can do that via multiple ways, and one of those ways is by going ahead and getting the viewers currently who are watching to go ahead and share, but also try and get a lot more interaction in here as well. And then I'm also trying different sorts of videos right now as well. So what I'm going to be doing in the future is I'm not going to be uploading every Sunday just to ease my, I guess, workload, but I also want to go ahead and do sort of different videos when I do upload on Sundays, and that's going to be, for example, to do with improving or doing, like, maybe, say for example, how to get started in Transport Fever, a game that I know really well, like top 10 mods or top 10 assets and like Transport Fever, stuff like that. And then maybe when I get a bit better at this game, I can maybe share some expertise on this, but that's what I'm sort of wanting to go to going forward anyway. Okay, so with that said, and with that rant over, we can go ahead and continue on with actually some of these wonderful comments we've got here. So starting off with the one and only Ethmeister. So he's wanting to go ahead and see quite a few different things. He wants to see toll booths on highways, which I've got a really good idea for that, though it's going to require me to go ahead and do it in sort of a non-conventional area, but I've got an idea. I think we could do it in this valley, or this small sub-valley here, which we can go ahead and do. So let's go ahead and see if we can go ahead and achieve this quite easily. Jumping into roads here, and we've got our toll barriers. So I'm actually, how much do these cost? 12,000. Is it worth the waste? It is worth the waste. I just want to go ahead and see what these actually look like. Okay, so that one makes sense. And all it is, yeah, okay, that's understandable. So, the one thing is it does need water and it does need power, so that's good to know. So with that said, do we have ones for highways? I'm assuming we do. Which I'm assuming this, yeah, this is going to be for the highway here, which is perfect. We've got a two-way large toll booth. If I actually read this properly, that would probably help me out here. So, yep, okay, yep, and yep. Right, okay, wonderful. So, if I go ahead and delete a good section of this road, the reason I'm doing it on this section of road here is because it is nice and flat, which is perfect. So, if I go ahead and now shift that this way around here, what I want to do is make sure I've got my roads going in the correct direction. So what I want to do is want to do one over there, and then if we flip this around, and then we want to go ahead and do this one over, yeah, about there I think, which is perfect. So that means now all we need to do is go ahead and, I guess, add in my highway connections back in, and this should work. I'm assuming that's how it all goes, though again I guess we're about to find out now. So let's go ahead and clip that into there like so, and that works out perfectly. And then from there we're going to go ahead and we can actually do this backwards like that, and then go ahead and revert the road like usual, and that works out there. Then coming over to this other side here, this side will be a little bit more steep actually. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and cut this right back to the corner instead, And what we're going to do here is we're going to have the curve there, and we're just going to run that into there like so. I think that looks a lot better. And then I think we're actually going to go ahead and do the same here. So let's cut this straight bit back here, which is what I'm trying to say. And let's go ahead and just run that into there like so, which is a little bit better. And finally, all I need to go ahead and do is throw this around the other way, and that is us sorted. So if we rerun the simulation again, we can see now that we are starting to go ahead and see the toll booths getting used, which is good to see. Now, I do actually want to address the toll booths. I don't think they're actually in use right now because I don't think I have power, which is understandable. But toll booths are very much an American thing, or I feel they're not a very British thing. I can say that safely, because the bottom line is that they're really not. In Britain, you sort of pay a thing called road tax. Now, for British people, this is going to make total sense. But you just pay road tax, and that sort of covers all, like, toll booths. The only exceptions when there is toll booths on roads is when there's bridges and they've not been currently paid for. So, for example, the Forth Road Bridge, before it was paid off, that had a toll booth on it, and that ran until the bridge was paid off, which that happened in, I think, 2000 and maybe, I don't know, 4 or something. And then talking about the new Queen's Ferry crossing, which is parallel to that, that got actually paid for by the Scottish Government, so that doesn't have a toll booth. So if basically a massive piece of infrastructure hasn't been paid for, that's when they run a toll. And then there is other case as well, I can think, in the UK, where there's a private motorway. So there's the M6 toll road, which is actually a private road, it's not owned by the government, and you pay to go on that, and that really makes your commute around the Birmingham area anyway much faster. So that is very good to note, but you really don't get a lot of toll booths here, whereas I feel in America you do. America is very much, I don't know if you pay road tax over there though, I don't really understand the system, but when I'm basically in America, every time I've been, there's lots of tolls everywhere, especially on big highways. We were on the I-95 a lot, which is the highway on the east coast stretching from Maine all the way down to Florida. We were in and around the Philadelphia area, and there were sure a lot of tolls on that road. Okay, so we got these tolls into operation, but I'm not really seeing much cars being charged. A thief in cars. Cars need to stop briefly to pay the toll, causing the traffic to build up. Right, unsure why this isn't working yet. Let's go ahead and increase the tolls as well, actually. Yeah, I'm really unsure. Let's go ahead and speed this up a bit more. Cars are just not being charged right now. I mean, we've got water and we've got electricity. Thought I'd add a windmill in here on the hill, actually, because I think that looks quite cool, to be honest. Yeah, so we're really not doing anything here, are we? I don't know if it's a policy issue or if it's a... I don't know, I've got to turn something on. If we jump back into here and we jump back into this, actually, you can apply a fee for using a road or accessing an area by placing a toll booth on a road. The cars must pay toll to pass the toll, and the fee can be adjusted from the toll booth's info panel. Toll booths slow down traffic as cars need to stop at the booth and pay the toll. No pedestrian traffic across toll booth. Right, okay, so that makes sense, but I'm just not seeing them in action yet, which is really strange indeed. If I jump into my road connections, not the building I want. I'm wanting that. No, this is what I'm wanting. I want to go into my budgeting and I want to go ahead and have a look here. Interestingly, it looks like we're losing quite a bit of money with regards to public transport, which is understandable. I always look at this wrong, but we are actually losing money on forestry, which isn't great. If we go ahead and look at... yeah, road tolls. So they're just not active, which is strange. I'll go ahead and come back to that later on. If it's not working by the end of this episode, I'll go ahead and Google it in between episodes. Anyways, that was one wonderful suggestion by Ethmeister. I think what we'll do is we'll have maybe a few along the main highway, and then as time goes on, we'll go ahead and maybe if we want a segregated area, we can go ahead and use toll booths there as well, which I think is a good idea. So then on top of that, moving on to another comment from Meister. He wants us to go ahead and bridge over the highway, and I know what he wants me to do. He basically wants me to relieve stress from this road here, connecting up the industrial estate of Crescent Bay and the village, which makes a lot of sense. So what I am proposing is that we go ahead and actually make a modification to the village here. And we go ahead and basically this road here then becomes a tunnel, and it goes under and it connects into there. Now that may mean that we get quite a bit of industrial vehicles using that road, which I don't want, so we can go ahead and adopt the policy for that of this district. But I don't think it will get too much goods traffic, because I mean all goods traffic's going to use the highway anyway, and the thing is right now we're at the stage where this place is just an absolute riot, so I think we do need to go ahead and try and make some changes because it's just awful. We need to relieve pressure, and while I say that, what we're going to do is we're actually going to go ahead and buy our next tile, which is going to be this one here. Now I wish I could buy more tiles, and yes, I know I can go ahead and get in a mod which does X, Y, and Z for me. I don't want to go ahead and take away that element of gameplay from this just yet, so that is very important indeed. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and make those changes. So for these changes to take place, I do need to go ahead and do a few things. We need to go ahead and get rid of this whole street, which is a bit of a shame, I know. And then we need to get rid of that street, and that's all of a sudden, I imagine, going to despawn a shit ton of houses, which off they go, which is a real shame. And now you're all out in the cold. Looks like we have managed to actually get to wood production level 3 in our forestry, which is good. So we've managed to go ahead and increase our efficiency by 7% and our pollution down by another 10%, which is good. And we've also unlocked print press, medium tree plantation, and large log yard, which is exciting. So we will go ahead and mess around with that stuff shortly. So what I want to do now is I want to go ahead and build my road. So from here we're going to go ahead and go the typical 10 units, and then we're going to go underground to there. We're then going to draw this through to about here, and then we're going to go ahead and come up for ideally 10 units, but I actually want to try and make this shorter and then connect into there. Yeah. Right, okay, so that's interesting. Now, also, Meister suggested that I rename this to either after him or just called the tunnel. So we're just going to rename this the tunnel because it's quite an important tunnel, to be honest. As we can see, it's already getting a lot of use. Interestingly, actually by a lot of pedestrians, which is good to know. So what I'm thinking is we could go ahead and set up a lot more walkways in the city, and I think that would make a lot of sense. But hopefully that should start to take a bit of pressure off here. We're starting to see some vehicles using it. I don't want this to, I guess, give a ridiculous amount of traffic to this part of town. I really do not want that in the slightest. And if that comes to it, then we will go ahead and just come up with an alternative. But until that happens, then we'll go ahead and leave it as it is. It looks like we have an issue now with the bus route though, which is understandable. So we've not been in buses in a long time, and I do need to go ahead and work on this entirely. I might actually go ahead and add in a second railway station along here at some point, because I think it could be justified at this stage. So let's go ahead and have a look at what our issue is. I'm not really at all sure which route it is. I'm imagining it's this one here, the Crescent OD route. So if we have a look at this here, we can see that I think this just needs to auto-update, in all honesty. So I think that's fine. We do need to add in a lot more vehicles onto this route though. So let's go ahead and add on an extra 4 vehicles. Just based on the amount of people that are waiting at that bus stop. 367 is a joke. So let's go all the way up to 18. Let's go ahead and add on a mass amount of buses. And let's go ahead and break that down. We could quite easily add on an underground line actually into this, because we've very much got a structure of... It's just the way we're laid out really. The underground line could really complement this main highway, which connects up with Conifer Village into Crescent Bay and then along into the industrial estate. That could really work, and then it can actually loop up to Fordell City. So I think that could again take a lot of pressure off here. So I think we might do that as well momentarily. Well, I just want to go ahead and make sure that this does sort itself out, which it may or may not. Finally though, let's go ahead and go on to another suggestion from the one and only Billy Twister. So he's wanting me to go ahead and build a remote village just off away from, I guess, our main valley, and yes, I very much do want to do that. He was suggesting I go ahead and do it in an area which has mainly got some of the new industry in it. So for example, a small village up in the hills here, which I think would be quite nice. I am tempted to add one in here, though I feel we could actually get something quite large here, though I'm not sure. I would maybe like to do something up here. I'm going to hold that thought, Billy. I do apologise, it's maybe not going to happen just yet, but I do want to do it, and it is in the back of my mind. I'm just not at all sure which area I want to do it in, and then again, I'm also thinking about future tiles and future work, so I do want to do it, and I actually want quite a few of them, but right now it's just not the top of my priority list. Interestingly, when I have a solar power plant, which is maybe super useful, because I do like some green energy. Okay, so where are we at now? That bus line issue sorted itself out, which is good. So I think we need to go ahead, and I want to go ahead and contemplate about playing around with an underground line now, because I think that would be super useful. Do we have underground lines? We do have underground lines, which is good. So currently the buses go ahead and serve a variety of different areas, but we've not connected up, for example, the north of the city here. We've also not gone ahead and connected up a good part of Crescent Bay Industrial Estate, which arguably does need to be extended. So what I'm proposing is we go ahead and add in an underground line, which goes ahead and stretches from, I mean, a variety of different places here. So the good thing is I like about this actually is the stations are super discreet, which is cool. So what I'm proposing is we start off up here. Could add in a circular line. That's what we could do really, really easily. So what I think, yeah, let's do that. So let's go ahead and get a stop in here at the shopping city as well. Then we can go ahead and get one over here in Fordell City, which is fine there. Then we can have this loop around and come down to our next station over here. Then we can get one in the heart over here in our industrial estates. Then we can get one, I think, in Crescent Bay as well. I've got a feeling this could actually get a lot of use here. What I want to do is I do want to go ahead and try and stick this in at a different angle though. Or we could always have this up the top here, couldn't we? Yeah, so let's do that there. And then what I want to do is have another stop probably along here. And then another stop probably right along the bottom here. So as you can see, this is what we're aiming for, and I think this could actually be really, really successful. You can spend so much time on bus lines, right? But nothing beats a good underground, because it takes off a lot of vehicles off the road, which is going to be very, very useful for ourselves going forwards. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and see what we can do here. So let's go ahead and cut that back, because that is a bit of an absolute blunder we've gone ahead and committed to there. So if we go ahead and bring that along to there, and then bring that along into there, that works out nicely. Then this next section, should be a straight bit of track. Then I do love this snapping feature here actually, so I can see that other station up there. And I'm just, it's not actually worked there, but I mean, that's a perfect curve, look at that. Then coming up here, we can go ahead and, if this can go straight, if we can snap, and then yeah, there we go. So we want to run it to there, and that just works out perfectly. This is going to be a little bit more interesting, so we're going to have to curve you up there like so, and then curve you into there, wonderful. This is going to be quite an aggressive turn actually. So what we're going to do is we're just going to build all the way up to, say, about there straight, and then what we'll do is we'll have our sharp turn at the top here. This is what I mean by the snapping tool. So I don't know if you can see, but if you see where my cursor is, there's now a green cross line which has come about, and that allows me to make just that perfect corner. What a wonderful feature that is. And then again, we should be able to do the same here. It's not actually a line appeared this time, which is kind of frustrating, but I know where I'm going. And there we go, so that is the loop created, which is great. I really do think this could make quite a big difference on our network. So if we go ahead now and jump into our underground, and then as we can see here, this is our metro line. Let's go ahead and make a line. So close back out of this, let's go ahead and grab ourselves the line tool. So we're going to have a route which goes clockwise and a route which goes anti-clockwise, as simple as that. And then we will go ahead and just check out the demand. This is connecting up lots of different parts of the map, you have to realise. So this is why I think it'll be super successful. And it's also affecting pretty much all zones, which is really good as well. So let's go ahead and have a route which goes the other way as well. And then after this we can go ahead. I mean, the underground is really the backbone of any city because it just doesn't get affected by traffic and it really gets people moving in a really efficient way. So let's go ahead and jump into here. So we've got Metro Line 1, which is our let's call it the Valley Line, and this one is going to be this one is, I'm just going to put in brackets AC for anti-clockwise. And then we've got our other version of the Valley Line, which is going to be, we're just going to change the whole colour, to be honest, to dark blue, or lighter blue, yeah. And this is going to be the Valley, if I can spell, line, and then this is going to be C, which is perfect. So there we go, so that is, us got 4 vehicles on there in total. This is going to run throughout the night as well, and we're going to see how that gets on. Currently right now it's already saying that we're going to have 71 passengers per week and we're going to get tourists on here, which is quite exciting, so looking forward to that indeed. Let's go ahead and close out of that for now and then we'll come back to that later on in the episode. Right, okay, so the next thing we need to do is actually go ahead and extend this district out by quite a bit and also mess around with train stations, because actually we'll start off with train stations before we do anything. So I made a small modification at the start of this episode to this junction, and that wasn't bad. However, I think we need to go ahead and do some more work. But before I do anything, we're going to go ahead and turn off traffic lights at this junction here. Just see if that makes any difference. Though it really hasn't. Which sucks. Again, yeah, we're still, I mean, we've still got a lot of pressure on this junction here. We need to add in the next one down here. Tell you what, let's do that before we go ahead and do anything else. So if we go ahead and pause this here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and cut all this back here. And then we're not going to do it onto the bridge though, that's quite important to note. Though we might actually demolish the bridge, we might change the angle of the highway. But give me a second here. So if we jump back into our highway junctions, we want to get this highway junction in here. Well, that's going to be easier said than done. So we cut this right back, and I mean right back here. Can we try... Problem is, this is trying to snap to the totally wrong thing here. Yeah, this has been a mammoth of a beast right now, isn't it? Right, let's just go ahead and turn off snapping because it's just being an utter disgrace. Alright, so what I want to do is try and get you to run into there like so. So we're going to build that there, and we are just going to go ahead and change the alignment of the highway. I would make this maybe a double crossover road, but that's just not going to happen in all honesty. I don't have enough room, I don't think, for that to happen, because the road would just come right out into the water, and that's just not what I'm about right now. So let's go ahead and see what we can do here. We're now going to actually have to go ahead and take down this whole bridge as well, which is going to cause me a lot more issues here. So we cut this back right back to the bends basically. And then let's go ahead and rebuild these new bridges. This is going to cost me quite a bit of money, coming to think of it actually, which I'm not a fan of, but I do like that taller bridge actually. That's quite cool, and it's not actually cost me that much in general. So let's get those straight over to here. Then from there what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and sort of get the road to weave. Like so. I quite like that. And then let's go ahead and try get something similar into... what, there, perfect. And then let's go ahead and see if we can get that to curve into there. So, I mean, it's not perfect, but we can go ahead and disguise that with trees, and that's definitely what I will do. So how are we doing here with the right direction of road? We've not got the right direction of road. which is not great. So that should resolve that side there, and then coming back along here, that should pretty much be all resolved now, minus that section there, and there we go, that's perfect. So with that done now, that's our change implemented. If I go ahead and jump into here, let's go ahead and grab some conifers, and let's go ahead and increase our brush size quite drastically. Let's go ahead and really just tree this whole area up over here for the time being, which is good. Right, wonderful. Okay, so as we can see now, things are looking nice and dense, and now, even though there is an island in between these two roads, you really don't notice it that much. So now what we can go ahead and do is sort of, I guess, address all of our current issues here, which there is quite a few right now. So what I'm going to do here is, I think temporarily we're just going to go ahead and feed this road into here, and then in the future I think we'll come back to this because we're going to need to. So if we go ahead and connect that into there, and then from there let's go ahead and let's try do that a bit better. There we go. Right, wonderful. So that works out right now, and that's an extra connection into this area. That's just really what I'm wanting. So with that done now, again, we should hopefully start to see a bit more or a bit less pressure on this whole area. Let me go ahead and sort out my continued mess, which I forgot to clean up. Again, that's not perfect either, but it's not that noticeable. If we go ahead and think, let's go ahead and lower the brush size here, because I don't want too many trees. I want to try and go ahead and see if we can add any trees up the middle here, which it looks like we are able to do. Not to great success by any means, but we are getting some in here, which is good. Then we can go ahead and add in quite a lot around about this junction as well. I just love trees. That's the, I'm not gonna lie, especially on this map as well, because it really suits it. So if we go ahead and cover this whole section in trees here. Yeah, I don't know, this is probably quite overkill. I do love them. I do absolutely love them. So there we go. So that's added in a bit more detail there. I do love that. How stunning does that look? So now this highway junction, all of a sudden, it just looks much more proper. I do like it, and I do like with the trees. I mean, I do realise I've got quite a strong blur and depth of field on in the background, so you don't see too much, but I just love this. Just look at that. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not even that much. You're not really done that much with it, to be honest, but I just like the look of it, I really do. Problem is, I don't want to have too many trees, because so many trees die over here, which is understandable, but I do like the trees up the middle of the highway as well. It really does divide the traffic, which is always cool. Anyway, so what we're going to do, as I said, is we're going to end this episode by going ahead and sorting out the railway issue, because it's just not good enough. It really isn't. So the first thing I want to do is maybe try and migrate this closer to the railway or to the highway, but I don't think that's really going to be that doable, to be honest with you. I'm just having a look here, and I really don't think it is possible. We've gone ahead and done lots of different things now, but I just can't really seem to improve the traffic in and around this area. Because what I'd really like to do is go ahead and maybe move it over into here. Yeah, what I think we're actually going to do is we're going to go ahead and zone up a lot more new industrial over here, because first of all we got the demand for it. So let's go ahead and build all this over here for now, just so we can go ahead and, because I'm actually going to de-zone a lot of it here, because we need to go ahead and try and improve what we've got going here. And I'm going to try build a small train station here as well, to go ahead and try and improve upon things. So let's go ahead and first of all start by going into the zone. Let's go ahead and de-zone that, and that, which is perfect. Let's also go ahead and just move this just across the road, in all honesty, for now. And then let's go ahead and rezone up that, and that, which is perfect. So that should go ahead and take off some pressure around here. So the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and get rid of this road, this road, this road, and that should do me for now. So we go ahead and now rerun the simulation. We should see now that things are going well. That's all watered up, just making sure. Looks like we're starting to get the stage again where we are pretty much full on the landfill. Surprised to see we've not actually got any more garbage complaints, but these things happen. So, as we can see now, things are you going to close down? Goodbye. Right, okay, so what I want to now try and do is... I don't know if this is actually going to work that great, but no, we don't want to do that. So if we come out of this and we go ahead and move this, let's go ahead and move this into here like so. Then what I want to do is... I'm actually, even though we have gone ahead and spent a lot of time on this road, we're actually going to get rid of this road. And then we're going to go ahead and we've got rid of that line there. Right, that is... It's not perfect, but it will do for now. So instead of having this turning circle as well, we are going to get rid of this. Because I feel this is now just... It's just not elegant. It's not an elegant solution, let's put it that way. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump back into railway lines here, and we're going to go ahead and build a straight line up, pretty much up to about there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and have a sectional line which curves round and then joins in the track there, which... That looks not too bad in itself. Then for coming out onto this track now, we're going to go ahead and have a... Yeah, it's a bit too sharp for my liking. Let's go ahead and form a junction which comes off here like so. Then I think this is still going to be a bit of a sharp angle. No, it's not, but I mean it really is, isn't it? Yeah, okay, let's cut this back one more. So let's go ahead and actually bring that right back, see actually to there. That would work great, and then we're going to have to do a pretty sharp angle here anyway now. Like that, and then let's join that into there. So again, it's not the most elegant, but it looks a bit better, and again we can really, let's go ahead and just do what we do best. Let's go ahead and lower that brush size a tiny bit though. Let's go ahead and add in a lot of trees here. Now I realise we are in an industrial area, so it's going to have a bit of an effect, but we can go ahead and discreetly cover up the line a little bit here, which I quite like. So there we go, that looks quite cool as well. Again, I can see where we could get a thumbnail for this video. Right, okay, so I want to see what difference that makes, because honestly, I'm hoping that it does do something anyway going forward. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to do some more works on the railway, but you're going to see that at the start of the next episode, because unfortunately we have run out of time. So please go ahead, ladies and gentlemen, and give me... What is the complaint over here? Oh, there was a fire right on the corner here, wasn't there? Yeah, shame that. Again, we don't have auto bulldoze, so it does cause me some issues. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this episode up here, so hope you have enjoyed it. Please leave a like, rate and subscribe if you are new around here. Now have a new POV from up the top of the hill here, which is quite cool. Go ahead and leave me your feedback down in the comment section below. Please go ahead and share this video with a friend. I'm really trying to grow the channel, and all your support really helps. I'm trying in multiple different ways. Go ahead and leave a like rating as well, and comments in the video description. It really helps go ahead and just increases the number of impressions on the video. Outside of that, go into the description below, check out my Facebook, my Twitter, and my Patreon links. And that's all for this video, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you very much for watching. My name is Bigfoot, and I'm out.